Here it is. Right. Hi, good day. This will be a quick demo of the LGU accounting application, which developed based on the Philippine Public Sector Accounting Standards, or PPSAS. So this is an Excel-based accounting application which utilizes macros, Visual Basic for application, and the different features and formula of Excel. So basically, if you have Excel installed and enabled macros in your computer, you can run this application. So let's get right into the application. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, so you can see here, it's basically an Excel file. So it's like just running an Excel file. You have here all of your worksheets in just one workbook. So let me just let me just explain to you what are the different worksheets inside this workbook. So first of all, we have here the search and filters worksheet. This is where you actually search or quickly search for a particular transaction based on the filters that are here. Like for example, if you're searching for depending on the revenue or expense class, like for example, if you're searching for a particular PS, MOE, or capital outlay expense, you can search it here by just clicking on this filter. You can also search per line item title. Like for example, if you're looking for a road network, cash and cash equivalent transaction, something like that, you can also do that. You can also search for check number if you find it helpful. And right here you can search. These are actually extended search filters for the data that you are putting into the database. So you can search depending on the budget appropriation, for the account name, responsibility center, depending on the payee. You can also search per month for the transaction per month. Like for example, you can search for all the transactions for January, and you can also, depending on the revenue expenses, expense class, depending on the journal, and yeah, something like that. So this is just a quick summary of the transactions that you've entered into the database. So let's move forward to the different parts of the workbook. So as I've said earlier, we have here all of the worksheets, like ranging from the pre-closing trial balance, the financial statements. Like for example, here we have here the pre-closing and pre-closing trial balance, post-closing trial balance, the financial statements here, financial position, performance, cash flow statements, reconciliation for the cash flow statements, SCE, changes in net assets or equity, SCABA, recommended, of course, your notes to financial statements. The notes to financial statements, you are the one to customize or input the data that you are going to financial statements. It's not, it won't be automatically generated by this application. You have here the general ledgers. You have the assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses for your general ledgers. Of course, you also have here the subsidiary ledgers. These are the list view of the subsidiary ledgers. At the moment, these are the default subsidiary ledgers that we have, but you can always put more if you need more of these. So of course, when we set up the application, you will have to enter the different subledgers that you already have in your accounting record. So to do that, I will demonstrate later. So once we do that, we can generate the subledgers, and it will appear here for all assets and liabilities. So just a quick demo on how to create a subledger. So you just click this button here with the plus sign of new subledger. You just click that, and then you will be presented by this form. So let's say for example, you are creating a subledger for cash in bank, LCCA. Let's say for example, you have multiple accounts for your cash in bank. So let's create a subledger for that one. So let's just say we have to rename the subledger. Like for example, let's make this a shortcut. LTCA. Let's say that is LVP. Let's say Claveria branch, something like that. So a brief. You can also put a brief description of that subsidiary ledger if you want. But for demo purposes, let's just keep all of those. You can have the office address, contact information for that, if it's applicable for that particular subledger. So just click next. And then here you will be presented by a summary of the subsidiary ledger that you are going to make. So we're making a subledger from the general account cash in bank LCCA, and the subsidiary account name is cash in bank LCCA LBB Claveria brand. So when we click proceed, you'll get a prompt that the subsidiary account have been successfully created. So like that, so it will appear it's here. So once we make entries to the different journals in this workbook, this account will now appear in the selection of those accounts. So of course we have a lot of subsidiary ledgers in the LGU, especially in our PPEs, of course. So we are actually expecting a lot more to make when we set up the application for use now. So that's for subsidiary ledgers. Next are the job. So yeah, right. So basically, when you enter a transaction, there will journal entry voucher will automatically be created in this workbook. So you won't have to worry about creating separate separate process in creating the journal entry voucher. So for this one, I've created just four separate journal entry vouchers just to sort out. So we have JEV others, basically all the JEV that's created in the general journal, it will be here. We have JEV for cash receipts journals, and we also have JEV for check disbursements journal and cash disbursements journal. So this will be automatically created once we do the data entry or the journalizing in our journals. So next, we have here the general journals or the different journals. We have the general journal, the cash receipts journal, check disbursements journal, and the cash disbursements journal. So we have one journal for each month. So as you can see here, all the worksheets are named depending on the month. Like for example, General Journal 1 or GJ1, that's for January, GJ2 for February, and so on and so forth. So that's basically the worksheet or the workbook structure of this Excel file or this application. So let's go into setting up. Let's go first into setting up the worksheet. Like for example, this is actually a very important part before we proceed on putting or doing the data entry in the application. So we first set of course this one, the municipality. Let's just say Claveria. Right now it's on the province of Northern Samar, but we can always edit that one later on. So 2024, let's say that's for 2024, and let's say this workbook will be used for general fund. We have general fund, trust fund, or special education fund. Let's just choose general fund for now. Let's say your I'm not sure if this is your name. Is that? I'm not sure. Let me just check that out. I'm not sure. Tama po ba? I think it is. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I think it is. So yeah, let's just proceed. And then FS details will be updated. As you can see here, it will be updated here. So this workbook, although it is basically an Excel file, you won't be allowed to insert rows, insert columns, because if you do that, you will ruin the structure of the workbook. So it is specifically designed to, if you have to make adjustments to the data or to the details of the workbook, you have to do it using the specified forms. Like for example, the one that I've shown you just a while ago, like this one. If you want to change the name of the municipality, the calendar year, and the name of the municipal accountant, you will have to do it in a form. So basically like just like that. So yeah, so let's proceed on the demo on making a journal entry. So let's start with the journal. So basically it's a simple journal. The only distinguishing factor about this one is you don't have to enter it manually on the form, but you will be given this data entry form. Yeah, so like for example, we're going to make a journal on entry. What are the typical entries for the general journal at the beginning of the year? Let's just say it is a transaction. Responsibility, we don't usually have a, let's just skip this part because it doesn't really, for demonstration purposes only. So let's just say the date, let's say 01/01 24, January 1 2024. Let's put a dummy reference number, and then let's say we are making an entry to record, oh no, to record real property tax receivable for CY 2024. So I think this is a typical journal entry. So our debit will be real property tax receivable, right? Let's say we have here 5 million. I think that's a fair enough amount right there. And then the credit will be deferred real property tax, right? So let's just say like that. So as you notice, as I type the amount, there's actually a summary already of how much is the imbalance in this particular entry. So right now, as soon as I've entered the correct amount, it will balance out and it will disappear, right? So I think we've done an entry. You just click submit, right? So yeah, it's posting. You just have to wait. So you will be given a prompt of that the journal entry has been successfully posted, and it will appear already here in the journal. So let's just check, because we already have an entry here on the journal. Let's check on the financial statements, right? So I'm sorry about this one. So you have to change this to into 2024, since we are working on the 2024 FS. Actually, this one here is a filter. So like for example, you want to filter from just for the month of January. You can filter out your like for example a cut off of January 1 to January 31. You can make these financial statements just to show what's depending on the filter here, right? Like for example, if you want January 1 to December 31 only, it will show only those all those figures. Like yeah, it's automatically adjusted to as of January 31, because we've changed the filter here, which is the cutoff is January 31 2024. So as you can see, because we've entered already some entries in the journal, we have our receivables, and if as you can see here, we have our plus signs on the leftmost part of the workbook. That will be a breakdown of the receivables. We are in receivables right now. So let me just do that again. So we have 5 million in receivables. If you want to know the details of that, you can just click the plus button and you will get where that 5 million is coming from. So right now it's from real property tax receivable, right? And the other one is on the deferred credits, which is, yeah, right here, the deferred property tax. So basically it will be automatically posted into the financial statement. So if we also go to the general ledgers, receivables, let me just quickly find what's the account number. You can also see that here on our pre-closing trial balance, 13120. So let's just try to find that one. 13120. I think it's here. Yeah, so it's here. Real property tax receivable is already posted in the general ledger. So basically, when you make an entry on the journals, it will automatically be posted to the ledgers, all the way to the trial balances and basically the financial statement. So this is one. So when you click the transaction here, you can actually edit the details, but not the journal entry itself. It won't allow you to change the debit and credit. So, like for example, if you made an error, like for example, yeah, like for example, you can only edit the top part, the details of the entry, the date, the reference number, the particulars, but the entry itself, you cannot edit that. It's locked in. If you made a wrong entry, you will have to make an adjusting entry or a reversal entry, for example. So you can just do that here, reversing entry, adjusting entry for that one. You will have to make a correcting entry if you made a wrong entry in that case. So that's basically it for the general journal. Let's proceed with the cash receipts journal. Basically, it's the same story here. So when we click data entry, you will be given this data entry form. It's almost the same with how the data entry form looks in the general journal, except that we have on the transaction type, it's only collections and deposits for cash receipts journal. So let's make a quick entry for cash receipts. Like, so for example, 01, let's make 01 1524 for the date. RCD number, let's just say 1. Then collections from, I don't know, from whoever, let's say taxpayer. Collecting officer will be your treasurer, I guess. And then let's say, of course, the debit will always be cash, local treasury, right? Let's just leave the amount for now because we will be totaling or summing up the amounts later on. So like for example, we are recording for the receipt of real property tax basic. Let's say that is to 500,000. So and then when we record real property tax, of course we have some due to LGUs, I guess, for provincial share, right? So I will not compute for the 40 or whatever. Let's just say 100,000 for the provincial share. And then we have due to LGUs for the barangay share. Let's just say another 100,000. I will not compute for the correct amount here. This is just for demonstration purposes. So let's add another one. Like for example, we're also collecting for business tax. Business taxes. Let's say 50,000. Let's add more, like community taxes. Yeah, like that, 20 right now. And last one, let's say clearance, yeah, 10,000. So right here, when you select the account names right here, so yeah, when you hover your mouse, it will automatically pop up the account code for that particular account, for example, like that. So you can just type the account, or you can actually go to the drop down list and select the particular account name for that matter. So right now, I've left the amount for the cash local treasury so that we can have the right amount there, so that it will balance out. So you can then, after it's all balanced out, you can just submit, just like what we did in the general journal. Just have to wait for a bit. I'm using a bit right now because we're on as I am recording a video recording, and I'm using a fairly low spec laptop. I only have i3 at the moment with 8 gigabytes of RAM, so it's a bit slow. So yeah, so now the transaction was successfully journalized. Just click OK. If you need to add another, you can do that. Like for example, collections. Yeah. So let's just check our entry. So it's all here now. We've made our collections, and we've also recorded some income, right? So let's check out the performance. So yeah, as I've said, it will be automatically posted in the general ledger, and as well as it will be available in the financial statements. Since we've already received cash, I'm sure it will also be present in our cash flow, right? So yeah, it's been recorded here. So to check if the cash flow is correct, we have here some marker. As long as this is zero, it means it's balanced. It will be equal to the balance in the cash and cash equivalents of the financial position right there, right? So also you can check SCF recon. We also have it here. So 870,000, and then on the direct one we have here the 870,000 also. So basically it's all being all being recorded automatically by doing that. So I will go into the detail of how the app works, but this is just for the sake of making a demonstration right now. So let's go back to the cash receipts journal. Let's say, for example, let's make another entry for, for example, we're going to make a deposit right now. So yeah, let's make a deposit, and then on the same day, let's say we've deposited on the same day. Receiving number, let's say 2. Depositing officer, I think that would be the treasurer most probably. Treasurer, the debit, of course, will be the bank. Cash in bank. Remember, we've made a subsidiary ledger for cash in bank a while ago, right? And it's here now. It's appearing here. The SSA LBB, Claveria branch. Like for example, the treasurer deposited 870,000 intact, and then we credit treasurer cash local treasury, so in the same amount. So it's basically that. So if you can see, if you need more entries, it will automatically extend the selection for that one, so you don't have to worry. It will extend up to 10 number of credits and 10 debits. So basically that. So let's just submit this transaction. Yeah, if you're using a much more powerful laptop, this will be automatically much faster. So that's it. So for our deposits, it's here. We have the debit, cash in bank, credit, cash local treasury, last cash local treasury. So I think that's basically it for CRJ. Let's move forward for the check disbursements journal. As you know, so let's try to create an entry for the check disbursements journal. So as you can see here, we have pretty much the same data entry forms here. So responsibility center. The only difference here now is because we are now making some expenses, because this is the bulk of our transactions is actually made here in the check disbursement journal. Make selecting the right responsibility center is very important. This will actually affect the your SCABA. If you do it right, if you are very mindful of the responsibility center, what responsibility center it is for this particular expense, your SCABA will produce a very how do you call this, a very correct, will produce the correct report for that one. So this is actually coming from your budget officer. You may want to set this up earlier, before earlier in the year. So yeah, so you have your expense class, either PS, MOE, yeah, CO, right? That. So your reference, let's say your reference will be your disbursement voucher, something like that, and your DV number. You can set that. So let's just make an entry right now. So general expense class. Let's say what are the different ones? So let's just say PS, I guess. What office? Let's just leave that for now. Let's put this one. And the date will be 01/15/24. Check number. Of course, when the disbursement voucher comes at your office, there will there won't be check check yet. So you can just put a temporary check number for that one. So let's just say pay. So whatever. So let's say that this is cash advance for payroll, for salaries. Let's say salaries and wages, salaries and allowances, I guess. Allowances of employees. Let's say for the month of January 2024, something like that. This is a cash advance, I guess. So of course the debit will be advances for payroll, right? So right now we only have advances for payroll, but as I've said earlier, if you have multiple people handling the payroll, you may want to create a subsidiary ledger for each of those people. Like for example, if you created advances for payroll and then dash the name of that individual who's handling payroll for regular employees, right? So let's just say 100,000 here for the advances, and then of course cash in bank. Let's say that's yeah, right. So you just submit that, and then you just have to be mindful that like for example, advances for payroll, if you have multiple people handling the payroll, you may want to create a subsidiary ledger for each of those people. Like for example, Control Shift I, and you may want to do this, right, something like this, and then you just enter here the name of that particular then that subsidiary ledger will be available next time when you create again an entry for advances for payroll, something like that. So let's do another entry. Like for example, let's say we have a project like what are these? Other purposes, or general public services, I don't know. Let's just say capital outlay. This will be a capital outlay. Let's say it's to 01 15 24 because 2 here. I don't know, name of the contractor here, I guess. And then let's say this will be payment for road network project or something like that. And then of course your debit will be the asset, which is the road network. Yeah. So as again, we don't want to make just road networks because this is a general account, right? So we want a sub ledger for this one. So we might as well just make that one. So Control Shift I is the shortcut for that one. So let's make for road network. Let's make a subsidiary ledger for road networks. Let's say this will be for point one, point one to point two road, something like that, and just click next and then proceed. We don't want to use general ledger. Okay, success was created. Just delete this one. Okay, so when we do the entry for that, let's just say it's general. This one is CO office 02 01 15 24, and then check number is 2. Let's say 2. Of course, the number of contractor here. Payment for road network project. And then when you search for that subsidiary ledger, it's here now. So let's just build that like. So you want to use the sub ledger when we make an entry for this particular expense or like expenditure. So let's say it's 5 million, right? And then cash in bank. Of course, we have your breakdown for it, right? Like I don't know, I will not compute for it, guys, so let's just say 4 or 5. Okay, of course we have your due to BIR there. We have your 2%, right? I won't compute again for the exact amount. Let's just say 200,000 is that amount. You also have your 5%, I guess. Yeah, let's say 300,000. And I know you have your retention fees right there, but I won't. You already know that, guys. So I'll just proceed with this one, just a quick demo of how we record this kind of transactions. Let's just wait. Yeah. Okay, so it's now entered here, as you can see. Yeah, so these are all, let's just to check again, guys. It will always be posted here. So we have here already purchase construction of property, plant, equipment at the amount of 5 million right there. And we also have here other receipts. Let's say, what are these other receipts? Yeah, we have here the tax withheld because we haven't yet deposited it to BIR or remitted it to BIR. It's still here in our it's still here in our inflow. So once we remit it to the BIR, now it will be gone right there. So yeah, I think that's it for the check disbursements journal. I think let's proceed for the last one. Let's make an entry for cash disbursements journal. Yeah, I think it's basically the same. You have your, it's basically has the same, pretty much the same data entry form when compared to the other data entry form. So like you have to select your responsibility center, expense class, let's say MOOE. I think maybe it's from a liquidation report. I don't know if you can do that. 01, let's say the 01 31 24. The accountable officer is the one handling the payroll. Who is that? We'll say payroll officer. You obviously have to enter the name in that one. So particulars, let's say it is a liquidation of advances for payroll that we've made earlier. So of course the debit will be the, I don't know, the salaries and wages regular, right? I think I've made an 100, let's say 80,000. And of course you have all the dues and due dues, right? Dues due to, that's a lot of due to pag-ibig, due to GSIS, something like that. Yes, yeah, you just have to sort it out. I will not. I just this is just for demonstration purposes. So I'll just put it all in salaries and wages regular, and then of course here the credit will be advances for payroll, right? So sometimes there are accountants that like to enter their liquidations in the general journal, but some of the accountants also want to enter the liquidations in the cash disbursements journal. So I made sure I'm trying to cater all those different styles in accounting. So you can do it here in the cash disbursements journal. You can do it as well in the general journal. So it's just your preference. It's just a means of, preferences. So this is basically wait. So we have an error. We have an error here. Indicate by reference number. We forgot one. Let's just say 001. Okay. Okay. So this, I think the most trivial part is that some of us tend to, especially when some of my colleagues like to record the liquidation of travel advances for, advances for officers and employees with regards to their traveling expenses. They'd prefer to record that in the journal. But for me personally, I want to record it all of the liquidations here in the cash disbursements journal. So basically this is what you're gonna get when you use this workbook. So all of it are recorded here. Like for example, in the pre-closing trial balance, you can see here it's balanced. It's balanced right there. And like for example, if you go to, of course, the post-closing trial balance won't be balanced until you make a closing entry, right? So let's do that later. So yeah, so you have here the now yeah, we have a negative because we've made some huge expenditures a while. So yeah, let's say 3.7 negative. Yeah, you also have a negative right there. So yeah, everything should add up when you do the right entries in this workbook. So right now, let's just say, for example, we're going to close at the end of the year. We have to close the books. So just have to go to the closing entry sheet. It's between the pre-closing and the post-closing trial balance. I put it there so that it's much easier for me to check if what has been closed in the pre-closing trial balance has been really closed. All of the accounts that needs to be closed is present in the closing entry. So if we're going, like for example, if we made the adjusting entries, we've already recorded the accruals at the end of the year, depreciations for PPAs only though, and then we're ready to close the books. All we have to do is click this close temporary accounts. Then yeah, you will be prompted. You are about to close the temporary accounts to the income summary account. Please note that by doing so, this workbook will be closed and further journal entries will not be posted. So you will be given this warning. And then when you click OK, it will then process all of those accounts that needs to be closed. It will close it to the income summary account as it mentioned earlier. So yeah, right now it's done. Oh, what are these things that appeared here? Right, so right now, these are all the temporary accounts that we've made so far. Just to check, we have an income and expense summary of 570. So I think it's a loss. Let's see for as of birth. No, there's an income actually. 570. Right. Income 570. I think that is right. I think that's just right. So now if you go to the post closing trial balance, it should now be wait. It's not balanced because the date for this closing entry is December 31, and then our filter is only showing until January 31, right? So we'll have to change that to also December 31 so that it will reflect. Yeah, so right now, the post-closing trial balance is now equal, right? So also the financial position will also be equal at this point when you close the, when you do the closing entry. So basically that's it for it. That's it for a demo of this LGU accounting application. So just a quick discussion with regards to the limitations of this application. Of course, inherent to using Microsoft Excel because this is an Excel-based accounting application. All the limitations in using Microsoft Excel is also present here. So one of those limitations are when you already have a lot of data entered into the database, it may sometimes get slow. Like for example, in our case, and we can only if we have until March, 3 months worth of entries in this workbook, it starts to slow down. Like for example, when you click the submit button when you're making an entry, it may take some about 15 seconds or so until it's done on in posting something like that. But we have a workaround on that once that we can discuss. I can that we already have a workaround on that one, so we can discuss that during the proper training on the users when we get there. So that's one of the limitations. Another limitation, I guess, is that because it's not a full-fledged accounting application. No. I mean, it doesn't have yet the an interface, a proper interface. Like for example, all of the sheets are just laid out here. So the reason for that is that I didn't make yet an interface for that because I want it as open as possible so that when new users use this application, they would still be, they won't be daunted by how different it is. So I want them to feel like it's still an Excel file that they're just working on. The only difference is that instead of entering manually on these cells, you will always have to do it using the data entry forms, like just what we've done in this demo. So I think that's it for this quick demo of the LGU accounting application. This is Peter Kayson, the developer creator of this application. If you are interested, you can contact me on my email 98kzer90@gmail.com. So yeah, that's it for this demo. If you're interested, please you can email me anytime. Thanks.